Guys, what's going on? My name is Ryan. I like to do technical analysis on ETFs, and here's my analysis for GDX this week. The senior gold miners here, ETF. We can see here on the daily we have a large hoop pattern that's kind of going on here, and we're reaching the edge of it here on the bottommost one. And I have been expecting on a long-term basis for a while now that we are going to see substantial bullish upside, and that's supported for many reasons here on lower time frames. But let's get into it. There's a different story to be told on the shorter time frames. On the 2-hour, we see that we have three similar patterns that keep taking place, and after which all three patterns take place, there's been a substantial move. One is this ascending wedge, ascending triangle. The second one is kind of this measured move right here, and the third one is a descending triangle. And it doesn't really matter, I guess, on which way they take place. It's just that they take place, and I only noticed this on the third round of them over here, that this is kind of a reoccurring theme. So we've got this measured move, this ascending triangle, ascending wedge, and this descending triangle. And on the third one, we have this ascending triangle, ascending wedge type pattern going on here, this measured move again with the two humps, and then the descending triangle is the latest one. Here on the 2-hour chart, what I've been seeing for a long time now is this ABCDE symmetrical triangle pattern that I think is going to play out here pretty soon. We have large overhead support that comes above here and is about the 2450 levels right now, but our first target is going to be to get above this shorter term resistance level up here. Now, we had a strong week for GDX, but we seem to give up a whole lot of the gains, and that's got me wary of a couple different situations that are going on. It is important to note that we have a RSI level that is above 50, and that is indicative of a bullish run upwards. We have our time fib. If we look at our time fibs here, these mark the high, a middle level, a low, and this is a low, and a halfway up the level. But what's interesting to note is that in the center of each of these is kind of a topping pattern or some sort of reversal pattern. So right here in the middle, we kind of have a pause in the middle of these two time fib lines here, and after we get past this middle, we kind of drop all the way down. Here, this is kind of in the first third. Right here, I would say, is the center, but you kind of get the point here. B here, this is a good example of what I mean. We're basically right in the center in between these two timelines here, and once we get to the center of this, we kind of just fall back down. Here again, same situation, we fall back down. Now, we are reaching the center over here, and I'm curious to see what would happen if once we get towards the center, that this is strengthened by the fact that on June 15th, we're going to see some rebalancing in the JNUG and Nugget ETFs, the 3x ETFs, and I think that's going to send a flood of extra money into these ETFs, and I'll be interested to see how it plays out in the coming weeks. Either way, we are at an important point in time here for gold. On the 1-hour chart, I have a different pattern that I'm seeing all of a sudden. I'm looking at a descending triangle here coming into this. You can see on the 2-hour, and I actually have a better example here on the 30-minute, where both of them overlap. We can see that this A right here didn't reach all the way down to the bottom of the symmetrical triangle, which is what tipped me off to the possibility of this descending triangle. Also, if this move right here truly was the top, it didn't reach the top of our D right here for our symmetrical triangle theory, and that's also got me wary of the true pattern that's taking place here. And so I'm just offering a different way to look at it, and this might actually be a descending triangle, which would solve the confusion of this A wave not coming all the way down to touch this bottom resistance line, and this D wave not coming up to touch the top here. Either way, I still believe that this E is going to fall either here or here. So in the medium term, I do have a bearish sentiment. However, in the short term, it's not so clear. So let's go back to the 1-hour chart real quick. So we can see that we had this big spike up in volume because we were in a descending triangle here, right here. We come up, set our first resistance zone, confirm our support zone. This sets in our A, B, C, D, E, and then we finish this. We break out right here. We fall back into the pattern, reach our apex point, and basically shoot up higher. I think it's interesting to note that basically the apex of this descending triangle marks our high for this pattern. And after we finish, we touch our apex, we continue to fall back down. Here on the hour chart, we can see a pretty strong support level right here that runs across the length of this C wave up to D here, and I find this fairly significant. Another tip-off of this being a bullish descending triangle was the fact that our slow stochastic had 3 equal highs, while price made lower highs. So this is a bullish divergence right here, and we see it play out after we dip down one more time, and then we break out here, we fall back down, and then we finally see a large move upwards. In the 30-minute, I was very excited to see that my measured move here of this, which would come from the high point here down to the support zone, and then you're supposed to clone this, which I did, and drag it over to the breakout zone, which I did, and I had the measured move coming up to about 2380, and I think we got to about 2390 here. So I was excited to see that theory and this measured move actually worked out. So first resistance point here on the 30-minute is going to be the support line running the length of C. I could see us bouncing up here, or if it decides to break through the support line, we have a lot of consolidation, a lot of support zones here at the bottom of this original descending triangle. I could easily see this being a good solid support zone right here, and we could see a minor bounce up from here before we travel back down. Patterns and movements along prices are not just a single direction. They kind of ebb and flow their way to the final destination, and I expect the same to play out here in GDX. I don't expect us just to go all the way straight down to E. That would be extremely oversold. So I deleted it here because it clogs up my chart, but I drew a Fibonacci line from here to the support line right here, and this the top of this move marked the 127.4% fib line, and right here where we're currently sitting at is the 23.6% Fibonacci support line. So that's just one extra thing to note. Here on the 15-minute, we see multiple divergences taking place. We see that our stochastic has moved from this high to this higher high, while our price has moved from this high to this lower high. And again, here on the bottom, we see that our low point is right here at this, call it this 12 level, and our next low is here at this 16 level. This is another divergence because we have a higher low here as price makes a lower low across here. What's more is that our RSI level has remained pretty firm here at this support, while price has continued to move lower, like I said. So our RSI is stalling out right here, which means that there's some pretty major resistance or support at these levels, and price is ignoring that support for the near term. On the 5-minute, I see this descending wedge pattern taking place here. I see that we've come in and we've set our A, B, C, D, E, and I think that we are going to come down and set this E pattern, and then the measured move, kind of like we had over here. This is a measured move from the top of this pattern at the breakout point. That's our measured move right here. Here's a closer view of the false breakout zone right here. We fall back into the pot pattern and we shoot up higher. It's kind of the same exact situation right here. So if this is the top of the pattern and this is the low of the pattern, and then if this E decides to break out, we would put this measured move right here, and this would be the final destination of where our measured move would head if this descending triangle is correct. We do have one last divergence here on the 5-minute time frame where stochastic makes 3 higher highs and our price remains flat right here. So this means that we're building up like momentum here in the technicals and the volume, but price isn't reflecting that. So that's a natural divergence right there.